Okay, good afternoon, dear students. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, sixth chapter, that is electromagnetic induction. Very interesting chapter it is. It will carry 6 marks in your annual examination. So, what do you mean by electromagnetic induction? In previous chapter we have studied most of the things about magnetism, and here this chapter is linked between the electric current and the magnetic field. So what do you mean by electromagnetic induction? It is the phenomenon of producing electric current due to the variation of magnetic field. It is the phenomenon of producing electric current due to the variation of magnetic field or due to the change of magnetic field. So ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ changing the magnetic field continuously, then we are going to get the electric current flowing through that circuit. Okay, so ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ವೇರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ, that variation of magnetic field produces a current, and that effect is known as electromagnetic induction. How? We'll discuss in the next some of the experiments conducted by Faraday and Henry. So already we have studied the magnetic flux, right? What do you mean by the magnetic flux? And we will represent it by pi. So we can define it in two ways. So one is the magnetic flux is the number of magnetic field lines passing normally through a surface, called as electric flux, right? In another way, already we know the equation for electric flux, that is AB cos theta, right? So if we use that equation, we can define this magnetic flux in such a way that it is the product of surface area and the component of magnetic field which is normal to the surface. Is it clear? So for example, I'll consider a surface area in this pattern. Now if I consider this as a vector, then the area vector will be indicated by the normal drawn to this surface. So ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ರೈಟ್, ಆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗೆ ಒಂದು ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ the direction of area. Okay, means it is the area vector. Now I am going to pass a magnetic field lines in this direction. Okay, now when I consider the magnetic flux, the magnetic field lines should be normal to the surface area. Here it is not exactly normal to the surface. Then we need to resolve it. One is perpendicular or normal to the surface. One component is normal to the surface. Another component is parallel to the surface. Okay. Here we are not have any issues with the component which is parallel to the surface, because we can't get any magnetic flux from the component which is parallel. But here we mean with the component of field which is normal to the surface. Okay, right. So here I will consider theta. What do you mean by theta here? So theta means it is the angle made between the area vector of the surface and the magnetic field through that surface. Okay. So here, this area I'll call it as A. Right? Then pi will be, in general you write it as a vector A, that is area vector dot vector B, that is magnitude or strength of the magnetic field. If you solve this one, dot product A B cos theta. If, look here, if theta is equal to 0 degree, then pi is equal to AB. This is maximum value. Okay? Why? Cos 0 is 1. If theta is equal to 0 means there is not any angle between the area vector and the field. Means the field is parallel to the area vector but normal to the surface. Noti, in y ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ that will be normal to the surface, which will make angle 90 degree with the surface but 0 degree with the area vector. Area vector ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Which indicates the direction in which the area is facing, surface is facing, right? Okay. If theta is equal to 90 degree, then pi is equal to 0. This is minimum. So if this theta becomes 90 degree means, it means the field is perpendicular to the area vector but it is parallel to the surface, right? Whenever the field lines were parallel to the surface, at that time the flux is 0. That we have proved here mathematically, right? And here the SI unit of a magnetic flux is Weber. 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 Okay, we will indicate it with the capital W, small v. And one more unit we have, that is Tesla meter square. Tesla meter square. Is it clear? So this is about the magnetic flux. The magnetic flux is a scalar quantity. That's why we have taken the dot product. Magnetic flux is a scalar quantity. But if you go to the magnetic flux density, then that magnetic flux density is a vector. Magnetic flux density means the magnetic flux per unit volume, right? Then that is what? The vector quantity. But simply the magnetic flux is scalar, remember. And one more thing, soon I'll upload the notes. Take a printout of those notes. Okay. Now just listen. So this electromagnetic induction, this effect, this phenomenon has been studied by two scientists. One is Faraday and Henry. This Faraday and Henry have done a number of experiments in order to conclude the presence of electromagnetic induction. Means in order to conclude that the variation of magnetic flux will induce a current, will produce a current. Okay. So in that, first one is coil magnet experiment of this one, coil magnet experiment of Faraday and Henry to study electromagnetic induction. Okay. So which will be known as current induced by magnet. It is the experiment which induces current by the magnet. Likewise, they have conducted two more experiments, that is coil experiment of Faraday and Henry to study electromagnetic induction. So this experiment will be known as experiment which induces current by the current. And here the third one, coil experiment. Here the current will be induced due to the variation of current. And whatever the lines, arrow marks you are observing here, The arrow marks you are observing, those are nothing but the magnetic flux. Magnetic flux. And here also it is magnetic flux. These lines. Okay? We'll study the first experiment. Look here, first I'll explain the experiment and of course I'll explain how it is possible. Okay? Right. Just observe this experiment is containing the setup of a coil which is connected to a galvanometer. Galvanometer why? To ensure the flow of current. Because galvanometer is the current sensitive device which will deflect when the current flows through the galvanometer. Okay? Right. So here it is the bar magnet. So first I have placed the north pole towards the coil and south pole away from the coil, and these are the field lines, flux produced from this bar magnet. Whenever this bar magnet north pole move towards the coil, whenever this north pole of the bar magnet move towards the coil, what happens? A current flows in the coil in one particular direction. So that's why the galvanometer shows deflection in one particular direction. But when this north pole of the bar magnet stops inside, then immediately the current flow stops and the galvanometer shows zero deflection. And whenever this north pole of the bar magnet is moving away from the coil, at that time again the current will flow in the coil. So due to that one, the galvanometer shows the deflection, but the direction of deflection is opposite to that of the first case. Whenever we move the north pole towards, at that time current flows in one direction. Whenever we move north pole of the magnet away, at that time current flows in opposite direction. Okay, that will be recorded by, or that will be shown by the deflection of galvanometer. Okay, you just think here, whenever the north pole is moving towards or moving away, we are getting the deflection in the galvanometer. Okay, whenever it moves towards, it shows one direction deflection. Whenever north pole moves away, it will shows another direction deflection. But whenever the magnet stops, immediately it will show the zero deflection. Right? Why? Why? Because I'll now explain the reason for that. Whenever north pole moves towards the coil, at that time what happens? The more number of flux will link with the coil. When it moves towards the coil, the flux through the coil becomes more. The flux increases. Whenever it moves away from the coil, at that time the flux decreases. This increase and decrease in the flux, can we call it as a variation of magnetic field? Yes. When it goes, flux increases. When it away moves, flux decreases. This variation of flux means the variation of magnetic field linked with the coil will produce a current inside the coil, and that will be recorded by the galvanometer. But the direction is opposite. When it moves towards, one direction current, and when it moves away, the direction of current opposite will appear in the opposite direction. Is it clear? Why it's so? Because when the north pole comes near to the coil, the effect of that north pole, the influence of that magnet, north pole of the magnet increases. When that influence increases, whatever the free charges we are having inside, means you can consider electron, will move in one direction. Due to the influence of north pole which is coming towards the coil, the free electrons inside the coil will move in one direction. So with respect to that, motion of electrons will get current in one particular direction. But when we move at this north pole, the influence of that north pole is goes on decrease. At that time, the electrons moves in the opposite direction. Due to influence, they have moved forward. Just for our convenience, we'll consider the electrons will move forward due to the influence of pole when it comes near. But when it goes far, the flux linkage with that coil will decreases. So due to that, so those electrons will move back. And then the direction of current will be opposite to that of the earlier case. Is it clear? So that means the variation of magnetic flux or field will produce the current inside the coil. But when it comes to rest, at that time the flux effect will be constant. So constant flux will not induce any current. When it comes to this point and stays rest, at that time we are not increasing any flux. So electrons, once they'll move and then stop. Again they'll start motion when the flux varies, the influence varies until comes to rest. So that's why when it stops, the galvanometer shows zero deflection. So from this we can conclude that the variation of magnetic flux will produce electric current inside the coil. Is it clear? So here the amount of current, the quantity of current will increases when the motion of bar magnet increases. Fast, if we move it fast, we'll get more current. Okay. Now, just replace this north pole by the south pole, exchange mode. At that time, when the south pole moves towards the coil, the current will be induces in the opposite direction to that when the north pole moving towards the coil. When south pole moves away, at that time current will produce in the opposite direction to that of when the north pole is moving away. Is it clear? South pole move madakatvi antandre whatever current we are going to get, that will be in the opposite direction to that of the motion of north pole. North pole move madidvi, south pole move madidvi, ಎರಡರಲ್ಲೂ current generate ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, but opposite direction ನಾಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳ್ರಿ. ನಾರ್ತ್ ಪೋಲ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆದಾಗ ಒನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದ, ಅವೇ ಮೂವ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರ್ತದ. ಹೌದಾ? ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಸೌತ್ ಪೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸೌತ್ ಪೋಲ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ನಾರ್ತ್ ಪೋಲ್ ಅವೇ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತದ ಆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ ಸೌತ್ ಪೋಲ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದ. Is it clear? So this is coil magnet experiment. Here current will be induced because of this magnet, motion of the bar magnet. And next one, the coil experiment, which also conducted by Henry and Faraday. So here we have the setup of two coils. One is C1 and another one is C2. C1 is connected to the galvanometer and C2 is connected to the battery. Okay. When we connect the battery to the coil, battery means it will supply the voltage. When we supply the voltage, current flows through this coil C2. When the current flows through the coil, it acts as a magnet, which we have already studied in the previous chapter, that is solenoid. When the current flows through the solenoid, it will act as a magnet. So here coil means that is nothing but a solenoid. Right? Whenever the battery is connected to the C2 coil, the current will be flows through the coil and which will act as a magnet and which will produce the magnetic flux which are linked to the coil C1 which is connected to the galvanometer. When the C2 is moving towards the coil C1, at that time the current will be induces in the C1 coil in one particular direction. But when this C2 is moving away from the coil, at that time again current will be induced but in the opposite direction. But when this motion stops, there is no current induces in the coil C1, so galvanometer says or shows zero deflection. Is it clear? So here also we can stop C2, we can also move C1. When we move C1 towards C2, or away from C2, then also you will get the same effect as we have observed in the motion of C2. So here we use the word relative motion of the coils. Okay, you can move either C2 or C1. So here the amount of current will increases when the relative motion between the two coils increases, either C1 or C2, any of them. If they move very fastly, then we are going to get the maximum current, more current. If the relative motion is slow down, then what happens? Then the amount of current whatever we are getting and whatever we are observing by the galvanometer will slow, will decreases. Is it clear? So this is about the coil experiment. And third one is coil experiment, but here the different case, not like that one. So here current will be induced due to the variation of current. Here we are not varying any current, right? We are not varying any current. We are moving this coil C2 in order to change the magnetic flux effect on C1. But here what happens? Look here, C2 is the coil which is connected to the battery with the help of tapping key. It is tapping key. When we close this tapping key, then only the current flows in the coil C2. When we open this tapping key, then the current flow through the coil stops, ceases. And C1 as usual, it will be connected to the galvanometer. Okay? Right? And look here. Whenever this tapping key is closed, immediately the current flows through the coil, then suddenly it will become a magnet and it will produce a magnetic flux. Whenever this tapping key is open, there is no current, so it will not act as a magnet. Okay? Which will not act as a magnet, so there is no any magnetic flux linkage with the coil C1. Okay? So initially we are open this tapping key, so there is no magnetic flux linked with the C1. When we immediately tap this key, close this key, suddenly it will become a magnet because suddenly current flows. Then initially there is a zero magnetic flux linked to C1, but when we on this tapping key, when we close this tapping key, suddenly a flux will flow through the coil C1. So then what happens? The galvanometer shows the deflection because the flux has been increased from 0 to some extent. 0 to some extent. So that's why whenever we suddenly put on the tapping key, the flux increases from 0 to some extent. Then what happens? Due to the variation of flux from 0 to some extent, current will be induced in the coil C1, so the galvanometer shows deflection in one direction and comes to 0 again. Why? Because when it is not having any current, the flux is 0. But when we suddenly close this tapping key, it will suddenly becomes a magnet. So the flux increases up to certain extent. Okay? When it emits the flux lines. So that's why the magnetic flux linked with C1 increases from 0 to some value. So during that increment of flux from 0 to some extent, the current will flows. But when it reaches its maximum value, there is no increase in the flux. So the variation of flux stops, the galvanometer shows 0. Again, we have to open the tapping key. When we open the tapping key, the current flowing through the coil C2 stops. Again, it will lose its magnetic property and it will lose its magnetic flux. Okay? So now the maximum flux which have been linked with C1 will immediately comes to 0. Why? Because we have stopped the flow of current through C2. Then what happens? So the variation of magnetic flux from maximum value to 0 will induce us current in the coil C1 in opposite direction. ಮುಂಚೆ tapping key close ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದರ ಅಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ tapping key ನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ. Is it clear? Okay? So here we are not moving any coil. C1 move ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, C2 move ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. C1 move ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, C2 move ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಫ್ಲಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು 0 ರಿಂದ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ದಿಂದ 0 ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ by opening and closing the tapping key. Is it clear? How fast we will do on and off of this tapping key, that much huge current we are going to get, that much more current we are going to get in the coil C1. Is it clear? When we insert the iron rod along the axis of these two coils, at that time the amount of current increases in the C1. Why? Because the effect of C2 will influence more on C1 when we place a metal rod, iron rod in between them. Is it clear? Okay. Because here when we place an iron rod inside the C2 and C1, when C2 becomes magnet, somewhat this iron rod also gets some magnetization, and that magnetized iron rod is passing through C1 also. Then what happens? The effect of this magnetic field due to C2 will be more on C1. Is it clear? Okay. So these are the 3 experiments regarding the electromagnetic induction conducted by the Faraday and Henry. And one more important, this is the somewhat simplest chapter, it will carry the 6 marks. So please give concentration, okay? And immediately within a short time I will send you the notes also. Please take a xerox of that one, or you just write the notes down, okay?